Respected elders, all brothers and sisters, and everyone joining us live, a loving Sairam and good evening. From chapter 13 onwards, most of the chapters are titled with the suffix vibhaga, which means to differentiate or separate, propelling us to develop an analytical approach on subtler concepts of spirituality. Kshetra Kshetragna Vibhaga Yoga prompts us to observe, evaluate, and ultimately realize the oneness in all diversity and to recognize that singular principle that manifests as everything. It is the Kshetragna alone that is said to be the underlying basis that supports everything. This morning, we heard how this Supreme Self, or the Paramatma, is above and beyond paradoxes, opposites, and extremes. It is said to be present in both the moving and the unmoving. It is indivisible, yet divides itself as all beings. It is the light of the lights, yet beyond darkness. The Mahavakya given to us by Sadguru, Aham Brahma Sarvam Brahma, is a practical application of seeing this oneness. When we meditate on the Aham Brahma part, we experience the consciousness as the Kshetragna within us. But when we practice Sarvam Brahma, we see that it is the manifestation of the same divinity as the Kshetra. And to make it easier for all of us to understand, Krishna urges us to recognize him as the one residing in the hearts of all beings, Hridi Sarvasya Vishtitam. For the one who recognizes and sees him thus, he alone truly sees. Yav Pashyati Sa Pashyati. We will now chant the important verses from chapter 13.
Om Shri Paramatmane Namaha Atha Trayodashodhyayaha Kshetra Kshetrajna Vibhaga Yogaha Arjuna Uvacha Prakritim Purusham Chaiva Kshetram Kshetrajnameva cha Etadveditumicchami Jnanam Jneyam cha Keshava Shri Bhagavanu Vacha Idam Shariram Kaunteya Kshetramityabhidhiyate Etadyo Vetti Tam Prahuhu Kshetrajna iti tadvidaha Kshetrajnam chapi mam vidhi Sarvakshetreshu bharata Kshetra kshetrajnayor jnanam Yatta jnanam matam mama Tatshetram yaccha yadrukcha Yadvikari yatascha yat Sacha yo yat prabhavascha Tatsamasena me shrunu Rishibhir bahudha gitam Chandobhir vividhaif prithak Brahma Sutra Padaishchaiva Hetu Madbhir Vinishchitaihi Mahabhutanyahankaro Buddhiravyaktameva cha Indriyani Dashaikancha Panchachendriya Gocharaha Ichhadvesha sukham dukkham Sanghataschetana Etat kshetram samasena सविकारमुदाहृतम् अमानित्वमदम्भित्वम् अहिंसाक्षान्तिरार्जवम् आचार्योपासनं शौचं स्थैर्यमात्मविनिग्रहः इन्द्रियार्थेषु वैराग्यम् अनहङ्कार एव च जन्ममृत्युजराव्याधि दुःखदोषानुदर्शनम् असक्तिरनभिष्वङ्गः पुत्रदारगृहादिषु नित्यं च समचित्तत्वम् इष्टानिष्टोपपत्तिषु मयि चानन्ययोगेन भक्तिरव्यभिचारिणी विविक्तदेशसेवित्वम् अरतिर्जनसंसदि अध्यात्मज्ञाननित्यत्वम् तत्त्वज्ञानार्थदर्शनम् एतज्ज्ञानमिति प्रोक्तम् अज्ञानं यदतोऽन्यथा ज्ञेयं यत्तत् प्रवक्ष्यामि यज्ञात्वामृतमश्नुते अनादिमत्परं ब्रह्म न सत्तन्नासदुच्यते सर्वतः पाणिपादं तत् सर्वतोक्षिशिरोमुखं सर्वतः श्रुतिमल्लोके सर्वमावृत्य तिष्ठति सर्वेन्द्रियगुणाभासं सर्वेन्द्रियविवर्जितम् असक्तं सर्वभृच्चैव निर्गुणं गुणभोक्तृ च बहिरन्तश्च भूतानाम् अचरञ्चरमेव च सूक्ष्मत्वात् तदविज्ञेयं दूरस्थं चान्तिके च तत् अविभक्तं च भूतेषु विभक्तमिव च स्थितं भूतभर्तृ च तज्ज्ञेयं ग्रसिष्णुप्रभविष्णु च ज्योतिषामपि तज्ज्योतिः तमसः परमुच्यते ज्ञानं ज्ञेयं ज्ञानगम्यं हृदि सर्वस्य विष्ठितम् इति क्षेत्रं तथा ज्ञानं ज्ञेयं चोक्तं समासतः मद्भक्त एतद्विज्ञाय मद्भावायोपपद्यते प्रकृतिं पुरुषं चैव विध्यनादि उभावपि विकारांश्च गुणांश्चैव विद्धि प्रकृतिसम्भवान् कार्यकारणकर्तृत्वे हेतुः प्रकृतिरुच्यते पुरुषः सुखदुःखानां भोक्तृत्वे हेतुरुच्यते पुरुषः प्रकृतिस्थो हि भुङ्क्ते प्रकृतिजान् गुणान् कारणं गुणसङ्गोऽस्य सदसद्यो निजन्मसु उपद्रष्टानुमन्ता च भर्ता भोक्ता महेश्वरः परमात्मेति चाप्युक्तो देहेऽस्मिन् पुरुषः परः य एवं वेत्ति पुरुषं प्रकृतिं च गुणैः सह सर्वथा वर्तमानोऽपि न स भूयोऽभिजायते ध्यानेनात्मनि पश्यन्ति केचिदात्मानमात्मना अन्ये साङ्ख्येन योगेन कर्मयोगेन चापरे अन्ये त्वेवमजानन्तः श्रुत्वान्येभ्य उपासते तेऽपि चातितरन्त्येव मृत्युं श्रुतिपरायणाः यावत् सञ्जायते किञ्चित् सत्त्वं स्थावरजङ्गमम् क्षेत्रक्षेत्रज्ञसंयोगात् तद्विद्धि भरतर्षभा समं सर्वेषु भूतेषु तिष्ठन्तं परमेश्वरं विनश्यत्स्व विनश्यन्तं यः पश्यति स पश्यति समं पश्यन् हि सर्वत्र समवस्थितमीश्वरं न हि नस्त्यात्मनात्मानं ततो याति पराङ्गतिम् प्रकृत्यैव च कर्माणि क्रियमाणानि सर्वशः यः पश्यति तथात्मानम् अकर्तारं स पश्यति यदा भूतपृथग्भावम् एकस्थमनुपश्यति तत एव च विस्तारं ब्रह्म सम्पद्यते तदा अनादित्वान्निर्गुणत्वात् परमात्मायमव्ययः शरीरस्थोऽपि कौन्तेय न करोति न लिप्यते यथा सर्वगतं सौक्ष्म्यात् आकाशन्नोपलिप्यते सर्वत्रावस्थितो देहे तथात्मानोपलिप्यते यथा प्रकाशयत्येकः कृत्स्नं लोकमिमं रविः क्षेत्रं क्षेत्री तथा कृत्स्नं प्रकाशयति भारत क्षेत्रक्षेत्रज्ञयोरेवम् अन्तरञ्ज्ञानचक्षुषा भूतप्रकृतिमोक्षं च ये विदुर्यान्ति ते परम् ॐ तत्सत् इति श्रीमद्भगवद्गीतासु उपनिषत्सु ब्रह्मविद्यायां योगशास्त्रे श्रीकृष्णार्जुनसंवादे क्षेत्रक्षेत्रज्ञविभागयोगो नाम त्रयोदशोऽध्यायः। श्रीकृष्णार्पणमस्तु।
May we now invite our revered Chancellor, Shri B.N. Narasimhamurthy Sir, to address us all.
Dearest Sadguru, brothers and sisters, very dear students, boys and girls. We have often heard Sadguru telling us, especially the students in our institutions, Paravidya is my subject. Why does he say that? Because the students in our institutions, including the university, they study academic subjects which are prescribed by the board. In this case, NIOS, National Institute of Open Schooling, and the university. They study sciences or humanities, languages, mathematics, and subjects like that. And Sadguru says, Paravidya is my subject. Why does he say that? A master of science can say that science is my subject. Master of humanities can say that humanities is my subject. Similarly, a master of Paravidya alone can say, Paravidya is my subject. Then who is a master in Paravidya? I remember on seeing Brother Ayavu sitting in the audience. Maybe on our second or third visit to Kuala Lumpur way back in possibly 2014 or so, or 2015, Ayavu had arranged a very grand reception. And those of you who know Kuala Lumpur and the wonderful batch of boys and girls who serve there and the kind of service activities that happen there, you know what it means. And Sadguru was going from the residence, Ayavu's residence, to the public function venue. About a dozen motorcycles were leading, 3 cars, colorful uniforms of the riders on the motorcycles, 2 cars behind Swami's car, and Ayavu was driving Swami's car. And Swami said, on seeing this cavalcade, people think that I am a minister. But let me tell you, I am neither a minister nor a mister, I am a master. Who is a master? The Upanishad says, Atmaratihi, Atmakrida, Kriyavan, Esha Brahma Vidam Varishtaha. Means Atmaratihi. If he closes his eyes, he revels in the Atma. He revels in the bliss or joy of God. Atmakrida means when he opens his eyes. This explanation was given by Sadguru himself while teaching Mundaka Upanishad. Atmakrida means you open your eyes and see everything and everybody as Brahman and deal with them with love. And he does not keep quiet because he has found the ultimate goal of life for himself. He does not keep quiet. Kriyavan, all the time in action, in activity. Why activity? Bhagavad Gita says, Chinnadvaida yatatmanaha sarva bhuta hiterataha. This is the definition of a master according to Bhagavad Gita. Chinnadvaida is absolutely no doubts left because he is established in Brahman, he is established in Atman, he is established in self. Therefore, there is no doubt. See, any sadhaka or aspirant, in spite of having many exalted spiritual states like, samadhi also, he gets into doubts. But a master will never get into doubts about the spiritual reality, about his own divinity. Chinnadvaida yatatmanaha means he has absolute control over his physical personality, physical and mental personality. And sarva bhuta hiterataha, all the time thinking of and working for the welfare of humanity, welfare of all beings. Only he is a master. Therefore, when Sadguru says, my subject is Paravidya, in the context of our students, I would like to say he is a master both in the theory and practice of Paravidya. This is important. There are masters in theory of Paravidya. One who learns Bhagavad Gita shlokas, learns to comment upon them, learns to explain. He is a master in the theory. But he is master in practice also. That is important. Because even in academic subjects, what is the purpose of learning? It is generally limited to two purposes. One is learning to know. That is theory. Learning to do. That is practice. What you learn in theory, you should be able to put it into practice so that you can serve society that way. Therefore, but for Paravidya, there are three more things why we learn. Like in other subjects like sciences and humanities, learning to know is one, that is knowledge. Learning to do is skills, that is putting into practice in Paravidya what you have learned. But there are three more things which we have to learn. This is what Sadguru was telling the Gulbarga campus students this evening before coming here. Learning to know, yes, you should know. Bhagavad Gita you should know, Upanishad you should know. And learning to do is practicing those principles. Yesterday Sadguru was telling us, day before yesterday, take one quality out of the 40 qualities that Lord Krishna elucidates in the 12th chapter and practice. So practice. After that, Sadguru says, especially for all the students, learning to express what you have learned is very important. See, yesterday we had a wonderful quiz program. My congratulations to all the students. But it is not few bright students who come up to the stage and quote shlokas, explaining the meaning. It is not that. Sadguru insists, every one of our students, every one, should be able to articulate and express what he has learnt of Paravidya. This is very important because when you have learned Paravidya, put it into practice, your lifestyle is different. But lifestyle in the outside world is totally another thing. So people will ask you, what made you behave this way? What made you adopt this way of life? You should be able to express. When you express, they will ask doubts also. You should be able to answer. Therefore, Paravidya, learning to know, yes. Learning to do, yes. Learning to express is important, but it does not stop there. Learning to serve selflessly. See, that is the next thing. And finally, learning to be. What is learning to be? You should also walk in the footprints of the master and one day become a master. Therefore, both theory and practice, he is teaching us, and by his own way of life, by his own actions, he is also asking us to practice and inspiring us to practice. See, only then we can say we are students of these institutes. This is very important because you learn other subjects. They are for the board examinations. But Paravidya learning is for life examination. See, that you have to understand. Preparing for board exams is one thing, but or preparing for university exam is one thing. But preparing for life examination, only Paravidya can teach you. Only Bhagavad Gita can teach you. The way Sadguru has been teaching, for example, yesterday, regarding Kshetrajna Vibhaga Yoga, such a simple way, he explained what is Kshetrajna and Kshetra. That is theory. And practice also he explained. With that, I would close. Kshetra means field, Kshetrajna means the knower of the field. Who is the Kshetrajna? Kshetrajna is one who has the ability to know. That is consciousness. Therefore, consciousness, Prajnanam Brahma, that is the Kshetrajna. And everything else is Kshetra only. When analyzing the human personality, Kshetra is the body-mind complex. It is not just body. Body-mind complex with all its instruments. But actually, the real one who is the knower is the consciousness alone. See, you're a conscious being, no doubt. But the pure consciousness which enables you to be conscious, utilizing the instruments of the mind, intellect, see, that is alone is Kshetrajna. See, that is theory. It's so very simple. It's so very simple. It applies to the whole universe also. Because anything that comes up in the universe is because of Kshetra, Kshetrajna, Samyoga. See, that is what the 26th shloka in this chapter that explains. The combination, coming together of Kshetra and Kshetrajna, see, that then only some creation happens. See, that is the theory part. But Sadguru also taught us the practice. How do you practice? Yesterday. See, most of the commentaries on Bhagavad Gita, they confine to only explaining what it is, theory. But Sadguru explained to us how to practice. The Drug Drushya Viveka. See, anybody can practice this. And in such simple way, Sadguru explained us. That is, you are not what you see. Suppose I am seeing all of you, I am not you. Suppose I am seeing this TV screen is separate from me. I am separate, I am different. I see the objects. So objects are different from the eyes. Mind sees the eye. Therefore, eye is different from the mind. And I, the big I, consciousness, sees the mind. But nothing sees consciousness because that is the fundamental basis, he said. So that is theory and practice, both are there. Therefore, it is very important for our students. It is not that, as I said, a few brilliant boys and girls who can quote, who can speak, who can explain. Every boy, every girl should do that, which is original to them, what is natural to them. Because they have undergone transformation. They have to just explain, this is how I am transformed. This is what it is. And more importantly, to be good instruments in the hands of Sadguru in the wonderful mission of divinization of humanity. That is the real mission. That is the mission. It is not just establishing schools, colleges, hospitals. Divinization of humanity. The students, thousands of students will have to be perfect instruments of Sadguru. What it means is you should learn, you should practice, and you should be able to teach naturally as instruments of divine. The message of the divine should flow through you spontaneously. That happens only when you practice. Therefore, every boy, every girl will have to accept this and try to put it into practice. With these words, I conclude and pray to Sadguru for further light on the Kshetrajna Vibhaga Yoga and also to answer our questions. Thank you very much.
In the opening verses of Ashtavakra Gita, there is this King Janaka, and there is this young guru, Ashtavakra. Ashtavakra was called Ashtavakra because he had 8 bends in the body. But he was a Jnani, man of wisdom, a young boy. So Maharaj Janaka is an old king who has met many Jnanis, who has discussed this knowledge with many sages and saints and teachers. But the first time he comes across somebody who is so clear in his understanding of this highest truth. And that person was Ashtavakra. So immediately King Janaka submits himself as the disciple of Ashtavakra, makes him sit on the throne, and he sits at the feet of this crooked-bodied young boy and asks him, the first question he asks is, Katham jnanam avapnoti, katham muktir bhavishyati, vairagyam cha katham praptam, etad bruhi mama prabho. O Lord, O dear Master, please tell me, how do I attain wisdom, the highest wisdom, jnanam? And how do I attain freedom, mukti, from all that which is not true? And vairagyam, how can I develop dispassion for all that is untrue? Please explain to me, he says to Ashtavakra. I want to know the highest truth. I want to get freedom from all this illusion of untruth. And I must develop dispassion for all that which is not real, which is not spiritual. Tell me, how do I do that? And Ashtavakra says, Mukti muchhasi chetat vishayan vishayavatyaja. If you are really desirous of that freedom and that knowledge, and you are not simply asking me a curious question, but you are very serious about attaining that wisdom, then give up all worldly pursuits, all worldly pleasures, as you would give up a cup of poison. Even if somebody serves you poison in a golden cup, would you just take it? You won't. You may take the cup, not the poison. But if you really want to achieve that highest truth and wisdom, first learn to give up all the silly, petty pleasures and desires of the world. That is the first step. Kshama arjava daya tosha satyam piyushavat bhaja, he says. And instead, enjoy and practice kshama, forbearance, arjava, straightforwardness, daya, compassion, tosha, contentment, satyam, truth. How? Like you would enjoy a cup of elixir. So give up the worldly desires and pursuits and the seeking of pleasures, which are temporary, just as you would give up poison. And enjoy the practice of good qualities within you, like you would enjoy a cup of nectar or elixir. These are the first instructions to Maharaj Janaka. He doesn't even start saying, I will tell you what jnana is. He starts with what it requires for one to attain wisdom. What does it take for one to attain wisdom? So that is what our Narasimhaji was telling. It's not about the theory of the truth, but how do I attain that truth? Bhagavad Gita is a very practical textbook of that. It's a manual, it's an instruction manual, a user's guide, where Bhagavan Shri Krishna tells him, Kshetragyam chapi mam vidhi sarva kshetreshu bharata, but kshetra kshetragyo jnanam yat tad jnanam matah mama. Whatever is the knowledge of the distinction between the kshetra and kshetrajna, that is true knowledge. All other knowledge is not true. Jnanam, that is real wisdom. All other things are not wisdom. And I exist as kshetrajna, the knower, in all that is known. All that is known is kshetra, outside me, apart from that me. And I am the knower of everything. However, the one who knows to discriminate between the two, such a person alone truly knows. In the end it will say, Vinashyastu avinashyastum. In the imperishable things, the one who sees, in the perishable things, the one who sees the imperishable one, sapashyati. Ya pashyati, sapashyati. The one who sees that alone sees. Everybody else is seeing the perishable kshetra and thinking it is real. All the achievements, all the amassments, all the accolades, all that we think, all the desires and pleasures that we enjoy, everything we feel it is real. But he says, no, within that, because by nature all this is perishable, destructible, right? Because our body will get destroyed at some point in time. So also our relations will change, so also all that we own or all that we have will go. So all that which changes and perishes cannot be kshetrajna by definition. Kshetrajna anaditvam, nirgunatvam. It is beginningless, it means it is endless also. Nirgunatvam, it is no attribute whatsoever. That is the nature of the truth. So anything that changes and has any attributes cannot be called the truth. So kshetra is not the truth. The body, mind, all its emotions are not the truth. Vikaraschaiva gunaschaiva prakriti sambhavat, he says. Because of the changes, because of the gunas we have learnt about. Sattva, rajas, tamas, gunas are there. Because of these, all these variations are seen. In what? In the truth of kshetrajna only. People would find it difficult. How do I experience it? I understand theoretically, as I said, it's like separating milk and water, which are mixed together in a pot. It's so difficult. You will say, no, evaporate, the water will go away and milk will remain. I'm saying, no, not evaporating. I want to separate it. Separate and see them as different, but very difficult to see because they're so intermingled, they're mixed. But one who has that vision to see the difference between the water and the milk alone sees, everybody else does not see. See means true see. Which see? Drigadishya Viveka see. The final seer who sees everything and there is nobody who sees it. That seer, if you want to become, who can see things through all these imperishable things, you see, through all the perishable things, you see the imperishable Atman, then you are really a man or woman of wisdom. All others ignorant only, who believe in all these things to be true, are ignorant people only. That is ajnanam, he says. So he talks about this jnanam, and what does he explain? He gives us some more qualities to practice. Yesterday we learned kshetra, two things are there, and kshetra is all the 24 aspects, including certain other aspects like Chetana, Dhriti, Sukha, Dukkha, Ichha, Raga, Dvesha. All modifications of the mind are also part of the kshetra only. Modifications of the body is kshetra. Modifications of mind with all emotions and other things also is kshetra only. So that is kshetra. And kshetrajna is other than that. What is that? Knowing which you attain immortality, he says. Amrutamashnute. So whatever is that you must know, and you must be able to differentiate between. One straight idea is that if you want to know the difference between the two, kshetra always changes. Kshetrajna remains the same. This is the basic discrimination between the two. All that which changes cannot be kshetrajna, cannot be the knower. That is in the known realm. The knower does not change in me. That I am feeling remains always. When I'm a boy also, I start with I am. When I die, an old man also, I am only, I would say. So also women will say I am, so also men will say I am. So that feeling, the knower in us alone is the truth. That is the idea of kshetrajna. And this knower is like the electricity I mentioned yesterday, which though is only one, appears to be many. Though there is one electricity flowing through all the bulbs, it appears like each bulb has its own electricity, which is true but also untrue. At this moment, there is some electricity in each of these bulbs. If you go and measure, you will know this much of is the voltage or whatever passing through it. But the same thing also is running through the entire circuit. Likewise, we are all connected. Though we are all like little bulbs which are doing their own job, but the electricity flowing through all of us is one and the same consciousness, that is kshetrajna. So we are all connected. Even this, you meditate on this idea, and suddenly you will feel fraternity, camaraderie, brotherhood, love, compassion for everyone. You have to think deeply about this. You just listen to it like this, it does not make any sense. Think a little deeply and think, oh, we are all one in that one consciousness. then you will suddenly realize how beautiful this whole thing is. In the bird, in the trees, in the water, that is river and the mountains, cloud, sky, the sun and the moon, in everything. It says very clearly in this, whatever is you see, sthavaram, jangamam, whatever you see, what is moving and immovable, in everything, it is just kshetra, kshetrajna, sangya, sanyogat, it says. It is the combination of kshetra and kshetrajna only. Even in the piece of stone, there is only this combination of material, matter, and the energy, the nova. It's all the combination. There is nothing in the world which is not the combination of both. Very clearly, Sri Krishna declares in this. How beautiful is this idea? You think a little deeply. Even after yesterday's discourse, I went back and I was thinking, go back and back and back. Okay, before this world came into existence, before all that Big Bang happened, before that there was this absolute peaceful state of existence. But that was not a dead or a unaware state. It was full of this consciousness. And today the consciousness that I am experiencing and you are experiencing is also the same consciousness which was the origin of everything. How beautiful that idea. We are eternal. We are never new. Manava, you are not new. You are not new because this consciousness is the most ancient one, Anaditva. Right from the beginning it has been there with us. So we are all part of that continuum, that eternity, that completeness. How beautiful that idea itself is, so beautiful that I was always there, I am here and I will always be there. That very thought itself is so elevating and liberating actually. But you have to sit and really think about it. That right in the beginning when nothing existed, that alone existed, it says, that alone was that kshetrajna that existed. That time it did not have a kshetra. But it, vikaranscha gunashchaiva prakriti sambhavad, they say. All the material world comes into existence because of the changes in it. Now you will say, if consciousness alone was there was no material, no matter was there, then where did all this matter come from? Where did the matter come from? You say there are two. One is the material world, the matter, body and all that, and these emotions. And the other is the pure knowledge. Pure knowledge alone existed without anything else. Then from where everything else came? Now I have to ask you a question. When you dream, where does that dream world come from? In the dream world, what all is there? There is a road, there is a tree, there are animals, there is this building, there are people moving, eating, sleeping. Even you are moving within your dream and enjoying the dream. You're eating a nice hot masala dosa and you're really feeling the taste of it in your tongue so much that you're actually physically drooling on your bed. So also people dream of so many things. You're fighting with somebody and the next fellow gets a kick. Where does this world of dream come from? Where is the matter that in the dream world that you have seen just now? It's all your imagination only, right? You have imagined the whole dream out of you. You have created the whole dream out of you, but while you are in the dream, everything looks real. Does it not look real? Till you wake up, you think you are actually existing in the dream and that is what is real. You wake up and say, oh, where am I? I was in my home. I thought it was summer holidays. Say, no, you're back in the hostel. This is the reality. But the whole experience of you going home in a train, meeting your parents, eating the masala dosa at home, meeting your friends, and experiencing the heat or hot or weather of your place, everything was so real when you were dreaming, right? All that world felt real or not? Everything felt real till you were woken up. When you woke up, you realize, oh, that was the dream, that's not real summer holiday. Here is Paravidya workshop going on. I better gear up. So suddenly you realize that everything that you saw so far was not real. But where did that dream person come out of? Where did the dream house come out from? Where did the dream train come from? Where did the dream dosa come from? Where did the dream parents come from? All came out of you. Was there real matter in that? No, there was no real matter. But it felt real. So you will say, how is that related to Kshetra, Kshetrajna? I have to tell this Kshetra, which we experience, this solid body, food, everything, imagine that to be the dream of the Kshetrajna. Imagine that to be the dream of the Kshetrajna, where everything seems to exist for real. But actually there is nothing real. This is the idea of Brahma Satyam Jagan Mithya. The Jagat part is the Kshetra. Brahma part is the Kshetrajna. And Brahman's creation is all this. How, just as you create things in your dream, Brahman, the Kshetrajna, has created this Kshetra out of himself. This Purusha has created this Prakriti out of himself. Purusha is again the concept you have already studied, the one who resides within everything. And that resident of all, Samam Sarveshu Bhuteshu, who is there in all equally, not more, not less. It is that one divinity only. That is the Kshetrajna, that is the Purusha, that is what is Yeyam, the one to be known. So this is what is our scriptural truth. Now you will think, so you mean everything that we are doing right now is like a dream where nothing is real? If I have to tell you the truth, yes, it is so. Then all these years I have spent growing, walking, talking, then Punarapi Jananam, Punarapi Maranam, all that is also part of this whole dream Kshetra. I will say, yes, it is true. And what about the karma and karma prabhavas? They are also in the dream Kshetra. Yes, it is so. That is how this whole thing is running right now. All this is born out of that one Kshetrajna. All the Kshetra is born out of it. That's why the Kshetrajna knows this whole Kshetra just as you know your dream. That is the idea. Latha urnanabhi sujate grihnate cha, like the spider. It brings out the web out of its own self and creates a web and lives in it. And then when it gets bored, it goes to the next room, it swallows all the web, and then goes to your neighbor's room and builds a new web. A lazy neighbor who never cleans his place. You'll find a lot of cobwebs over there. But where does this web come from? Where does those strands, that fiber-like thing come from? It's all come out of the same spider only. It builds its nest, its web, and stays there as long as it wishes. And when it wants to go, where does all that world that it created around itself go? It goes within itself. So this is the example, is Mundaka Upanishad, Yatha Urnanabi Srijite Granate. And then it gives many examples, Yatha Purusha Kesha Lomani, like our hair grows out of our hand, or how Aushadhaya Sambhavanti, how the grass grows out of earth. It's like that. Tatha Aksharat Sambhavati Hi Vishwam, it says. Likewise, from the Akshara, from the indestructible, unmanifest reality, all this destructible, unreal world has come out of, which goes back into the same. That's why Grasway, he says, I am the one who creates and absorbs it back. So this is the idea of that Kshetrajna. It is a wonderful idea. You have to really meditate and contemplate on it. Who knows everything and how does it all happen? And you'll realize over a period of time that nothing is actually real as it seems like. Your sorrows are not real. Your joys are also not real. Because the joy of reaching home and having a masala dosa during your summer holiday of the dream, was it real joy? So also the sadness is not real if you experience something sad at home. Your parents are, show me your mark sheet, and then you have a lot of sadness. Both do not exist when you wake up. So Janaka, why I mentioned is that Janaka had a dream like this. King Janaka, one day he slept and dreamt that his enemies have attacked his kingdom, and they have defeated him, and they have banished him from the kingdom. And this man is now no more the king. He is a pauper in tatters, wounded and injured. He is roaming around in the jungle away from the kingdom, and he is so hungry that he cannot bear his hunger and he is asking for food. And everywhere he begs for food and he is not getting food. Finally, he joins a queue of people who are having some kind of charities going on. So he joins the queue of those beggars. And by the time his turn comes, he says that the food got over, whatever they were giving as charity, annadanam. And then he pleads with the person over there, please see if something is there, I'm so hungry I will faint. And he scrapes the bottom of the vessel and takes out a little bit of gruel and puts in a little bowl and gives to him, saying, eat it, you can drink it. But just as he's about to drink the bowl of gruel, suddenly there is a kite which swoops in and takes away that bowl. And again Janaka is hungry and aho, he says, and faints on the ground. And as he faints in the dream ground, he wakes up in his bed here in his kingdom. And he wakes up startled. And his wife, who is sleeping next to him, says, what happened? What happened? He said, oh, we have lost everything. Our kingdom is gone. I am a beggar. And he says, oh, you had a bad dream. You had a bad dream. He says, no, I just now saw that king, I was not the king anymore. Our enemies have taken over and they have banished me. And I'm hungry and I have fainted. She says, no, that was a dream. But he says, it's so real. It was so real. I felt the hunger, the pangs of hunger. I felt the disappointment, dejection, the sadness of losing the kingdom. How can it be a dream? It feels real. This looks like a dream. Are you in my dream? He asked his own wife, is this the dream? Is this a dream? She says, no, this is real and that was the dream. But he said, I felt that I was there and that was reality, and looks like this is a dream now that I'm sleeping on this bed. So which is dream and which is real is what his question turns out to be. That's when he catches hold of Ashtavakra and says, I had this strange experience. It felt so real that I had lost the kingdom. But when I later woke up, my wife says that now this is reality. You are the king, still you are the king, and no enemy has conquered us. So we are okay and safe. But I feel that was real. So I am not able to understand which one of these two was real. And then Ashtavakra says, that which you saw there, the forest, the war, and all that you experienced, was that there when you woke up in your bed? He says, no. In my bed, only my room, my wife, this kingdom was there. Then he asked, this kingdom, this wife, this whole jewelry and all the clothes that you're wearing, was this there in that world which you saw when you had lost everything? He said, no, this was not there in that. That was not there in this. This was not there in that. Who was there in both? Janaka said, I was there in both. Then he said, that is the idea of Kshetrajna and Kshetra. That is also a Kshetra of dream. This is the Kshetra of waking. But Kshetrajna, you Janaka experienced both. That dream also and this one also. Therefore, you alone are the knower of both. You are the reality. That is how Bhagavan is the reality of all that happens in this world or in other lokas that we talk about, 14 lokas. They are all Kshetras only, where changes happen. You have to meditate and think deeply about this particular thing. And this creates curiosity in Janaka. Oh, that dream looked so real. I thought that was reality. And when I woke up, this felt like a dream. So now if I tell you that actually you are all in your summer holidays and you are dreaming that you are having a Paravidya workshop in Muddenahalli, how will it feel like? Suddenly it will throw you off the hook, right? You will feel, which one is the real one? Am I dreaming that I am sitting in Muddenahalli right now? Though actually I am sleeping in my home. Who knows? So that is how this whole world has been created by the Brahman through his dream-like imagination. And why it feels so real, you may ask, why it feels so real? Because like a dream which is very detailed feels real. A dream which is very deep and detailed, where you can feel the trees, the birds, the sounds, smells, taste, touch, it feels real, right? Those dreams remain with us. Like that, this world is so detailed, a dream that it feels like real. Whereas actually, if you see at the end, the final analysis, none of this is real. Who is real? The knower in you is real. The one who is experiencing that, the one who is experiencing this. Like Janaka, who was experiencing that he lost the kingdom. Janaka, who was still sitting on the throne. Both the experiences were not real. His presence alone was real. Likewise, Kshetrajna alone is real. Everything is unreal. Slightly heavy and slightly high, I understand. But if you meditate and contemplate for a long time on this idea, you will come to know what I am trying to explain, what our scriptures are trying to explain. The snake and rope, you remember? You feel the snake is real. You feel that snake is real, but finally you realize snake never existed. It's only the rope that existed. In the ajnana, we think snake was existing, and all the emotions of fear, anxiety, started happening in you because of this wrong understanding that snake is real. So to make our understanding right, to differentiate between what is unreal Kshetra and what is the real Kshetrajna, what do I do? Like Janaka was told, practice good qualities and give up bad qualities. Likewise, Krishna tells, here again he gives some 20 odd qualities. Amanatvam, Adambitvam, Shama, Arjava. Like that he goes on, Shanti, Dhriti, and Acharyopasevanam. Lot of good qualities he says. And one quality he says, Arati Jana Sansadihi. Not interested in the crowds. Such a devotee who wants to know the truth is not interested in kitty parties and cocktail parties and having picnics and fun. Such a person is not interested, because what is being discussed over there? All this unreal Kshetra only is being discussed over there. Is anybody discussing Kshetrajna? No. Then how are you going to know the Kshetrajna? To know Kshetrajna, you have to be in the company of those who are also trying to know Kshetrajna. Isn't it? Otherwise, all discussions in the world is about Kshetra only. Which country attacked which other country, who's become the president or the prime minister. All is a part of the dream. In the dream, you are going on discussing. My masala dosa is smaller, yours is bigger. Mine has palya, yours doesn't have palya. What is the use? Anyway, you not getting to eat it, right? So likewise, all the discussions in the world is just that much. So now you see, from my perspective, how I look at science, maths, and your board exams. Because all that is discussion of the unreal snake. But somehow, till we get out of this dream, we are avashaha, Krishna says. Without our control, we are pushed into this dream and we just go on dreaming. Sometimes you see, when you're dreaming, you feel like coming out of the dream, but you can't come out, you are stuck there. Has it happened to anybody that you were dreaming and you felt, I know it is a dream and I want to come out of it, but you are just not able to come out of it? Has it happened? How many have experienced that? Quite a few people have experienced that. The same way we are stuck in this kshetra right now. Even if we know that we are stuck, we are not able to come out of it. Why? Because we are incapable of it till we attain the wisdom. Once we attain the wisdom that this is just the dream and nothing is real, even if you cannot come out of the dream, it doesn't matter to you. Because na karoti na lipyate. You are not the doer, you are not bound by whatever is being done. You know it's in my dream, I know it's a nice dream, but nothing of it is real. I am not going to get any of it. Likewise, if you feel sadness also, you know, this is also in the dream. This is not what something that I'm going to get affected with. So this idea, you go on meditating on that, how everything which is changing is not real. How that changeless knower alone is real. And that was right in the beginning. And that is still now within each one of us. The ability to know everything is that Brahman. If you think that you are able to hear, talk, smell, taste, touch, you are alive, you are moving, you are doing things, you have to believe that there is Brahman. Otherwise, this is not possible. This is the idea of our Kshetra Kshetrajna. That is what is Prakriti Purusha. He says Prakriti is just the modification of everything. That dream modification, like modification, everything. Vikara is called, changes. And gunas. So somebody is angry, somebody is soft-natured, somebody is very aggressive and ambitious, somebody is very lazy and dull. All these are gunas which make us behave differently. Like different bulbs are different wattage, accordingly their light is different. Or they are of different colors, accordingly they produce different colored lights. Likewise, everything looks different, but the electricity flowing through everything is one and the same. So likewise, we are all connected. And if you think like that, that is what is Ishavasyamidam Sarvam. Yat kinchat jagatyam jagata. Same thing here also. Sthavara jangamam. Whatever is there. Yat kinchat. Again Krishna says here. All that is one and the same. If you deeply meditate on it, you will start enjoying everything. You will start loving everything. You know, you watch a beautiful flower and you will see that consciousness within that. That intelligence within that. That awareness within that. And so everything is aware and everything is alive. Nothing is dead according to me. If by definition, if dead is unconscious thing, then nothing is unconscious in the world. Everything is conscious. It may be insentient, but it is not unconscious. It is incapable of experiencing the consciousness, so it is insentient, like stones and other things. But it is not unconscious. It is having a consciousness, which is what is making everything happen. How the apple turns out to be red and not orange turns out to be an orange. It is that consciousness alone. Nothing else exists other than consciousness is the ultimate conclusion of this lekha. And chapter says that the one who can see this kshetrajna in all the kshetras, such a person alone sees. Everybody else is, kind of not seeing it correctly, like seeing the snake and not the rope. Everybody else is seeing the snake, whereas this man of wisdom who knows the truth alone is seeing the rope, therefore is not afraid. So all fears of the life will go away if you just realize this much, because nothing is permanent, everything is changing. So if happiness comes to you, you won't get excited too much because this is also temporary. Okay, enjoy while it is there, but it will go away. Similarly, if some tension, some worry, some disappointment come, that also, this is not going to last forever. Why? Because this temporary kshetra, it will change. What will not change is you who is experiencing both. That is what it said, that for bhoktritve hetu purushaha. Purusha's main role is to experience. Because it is awareness, it experiences everything. That's all. Sukha, dukkha, whatever comes to that, the Purusha experiences. But is never bound by any of it. It comes and goes. Like electricity is never bound by the light. If I connect the circuit to the fan, it has no problem. It will go into the fan and start becoming breeze. And if I connect the same socket and remove the fan and put the socket of, let's say, a heater over there, it will start heating things. It has no problem. Electricity can become heats, fan, whatever. It has no problem. Likewise, this consciousness is no problem. It is everywhere in everything. And it is never touched by that. The electricity has not become the breeze. Electricity has not become the light. Electricity has not become the sound. Electricity has not become the cold. Nothing it has become. It is same. It appears to be different because it interacts with the Prakriti, the fan, the light, the mic, the refrigerator, and whatever. So this is the idea of Purusha and Prakriti. That is what is, Jnanam, Geyam. He says, the goal of all Jnanam, Geyam, Jnanagamyam. The goal of all the knowledge, all that is to be known, and the goal of all that needs to be known is one and the same. That is that Kshetrajna. Once you know that, Amritam Ashnute, you become immortal. You become fearless. You attain the highest. And then there is no worrying at all. Such a person is always equanimous because he knows none of this is real. It's just a passing cloud, as I keep saying. It's a passing cloud, passing cloud. And Bhagavan gives example of Akasha. Akasha means space. Space is that subtle space. It's not sky. Don't confuse it with atmosphere, with gases in it and with clouds and things. No. It is the space which extends beyond the atmosphere, beyond the solar system, beyond the galaxies, beyond everything. Everything is existing in that space. And that space alone is also existing in every atom of our body, every cell of our body, also the same space. And in that space we all exist, we are all connected. Likewise, like space which is connecting everything and everything exists in that space, yet space is not affected by anything. If it rains, your atmosphere may become humid because of increase in the humidity. But the space which is the basis on which everything is, in which everything is existing, does not change. Like Premamrutham Hall was built. Before that it was a football ground. Everybody was playing football over here. Can you imagine? And that time, this space existed, but it was known as a football ground. After some time, when we built the walls and put a roof and a stage, it started being called as Premamrutham. Suddenly, the same thing became very sacred. Premamrutham Hall is sacred, football ground is ordinary, but the space that existed in existed in football ground or in Premamrutham is not touched by both. It has not become sacred or unsacred. That is the idea. This idea that Kshetrajna is never touched by any attributes of the Kshetra. Yet it appears that this Purusha or the Kshetrajna is experiencing Sukha, Dukkha and all that. But it's not really experiencing. This is why Ashtavakra says to Janaka, Dharma, Adharmo, Sukham, Dukkham, Manasani nate vibho, na kartasi na bhoktasi, mukta evasi sarvada. This idea of what is right, what is wrong, what is happy, what is sad, all that is in your mind. It's not real. What is the reality? Neither you are the doer nor you are the enjoyer. You are ever free. If you associate yourself with that consciousness, it is ever free. If you associate yourself with the electricity, it is ever free. If you associate yourself with the space, it is ever free. Yet it is completely aware and conscious, and because of that only everything works. Even if you are able to listen to me, it's not because of the ears. It's not even because of the mind or the brain which processes all the sounds and helps you understand what I am saying. Beyond that is the consciousness which is powering the mind or the brain or the body and the ears and everything. That consciousness is the reason why you are able to hear everything and understand anything. So that consciousness is Prajnanam, that consciousness is Brahman, that consciousness is whatever you Geyam, what that consciousness is Purusha, that consciousness is Kshetrajna. All these are several names for the same idea, more or less. Little technical details are there, how Prakriti becomes Purusha, how Purusha behaves in Prakriti. But as I said, those are very just academic or intellectual purposes only. For that sake, if you want to know, you can know. But deep down, the philosophy is this. If you know this, you know everything. There is nothing else to be known. He says in this also. This is what you need to know. This is the Jnanam. Dve Vidya Veditavya. This is the real Jnanam. Tatra Brahma Adhigamyate. Para knowledge is this which takes you to that Brahman. And that is how it's knowing which you come to know about everything. In the sense, you know that everything is made of the same thing. Everything contains the same consciousness. This is the idea. Next time you see anybody, anything, anywhere, try to apply this idea. That person is walking, talking, moving is because the same consciousness which is in me, which is seeing and observing that person. That dog which is wagging its tail, it's also wagging its tail because of the consciousness in it, which is the same as me, which is the same in me. That bird which just, was flying past, you saw that bird flapping its wing, that energy, that eagerness, that flight also is because the same consciousness as that which is in me, which is making me walk, talk or observe. It's the same consciousness. When you start feeling like this and dwelling on this idea, suddenly you will feel the unity of everything. And that's when ekatvam anupashyataha, tatra ko moha kashokaha. Where is the question of such person getting attached to anybody or wanting to detach from anything, wanting to be happy or avoiding sadness? Where is such idea doesn't exist in the person like this. So then he becomes like what Narasimhamurti said, Atmarati, Atmakrida, Kriyavan. How? Prano hi esha sarva bhutair vibhati. He comes to know that one consciousness that runs the whole show. And therefore, he becomes very happy. Sees himself in everything. Himself means the same consciousness in everything. And he alone sees because he sees the indestructible consciousness, unchanging consciousness in all that which is changing and is getting destroyed. That person alone sees, that person alone is the person of wisdom. All others are ignorant only. However accomplished and educated you are, if you don't know this, you are spiritually illiterate and you are actually ajnani as per our scriptures. Now you tell me in our institutions, if I tell you you have to become jnani, what do I truly mean? I mean you must attain this wisdom. Not simply the knowledge of the subject that is necessary to run your family, to do what is required to be done in the society. Perfectly okay. But if you stop at that and you think that is all that you need to do and know, then you actually have killed yourself. Yekecha atma hanojana. Here it says, na hinantya atma atmanam. You don't kill yourself if you come to know about this truth. That is what Sri Krishna says. Na hinastya atman atmanam is the word he uses. Means he does not destroy himself. Who? The one who attains this wisdom. So what are the others doing? They're simply destroying themselves. It means they're wasting an opportunity. They're committing a spiritual suicide and there is no future, no hope for such a person. And this thought comes in many places, in many Upanishads. Having got this human birth, having got the opportunity to learn the truth and having been provided with a wonderful Paravidya Shivira like this, you still don't put efforts in to realize this truth and go back as ignorant as you came, then you have actually ruined your own life. You have actually killed yourself is what is being said. Because what life is this life which is full of ignorance? Is that a life at all? It's not. Simply you're existing. But if you come to know of this truth, you truly start living. You start thriving. You start enjoying everything that is going on. When people ask me, how do you manage such huge organizations, so many people of so many types, from so many countries, so many cultures, this is not easy. Even one coherent group of people, you cannot keep them together because their minds think differently. And you are keeping a huge number of people all together. They are all thinking the same way, working as you want, doing as you want. How is it possible? I say, I invoke that consciousness in all. I know everybody has the same consciousness as me. So the moment this consciousness in me is invoked, and I say, you exist in everything, please. This one Kshetrajna, I talk to that Kshetrajna and tell Kshetrajna, you are in everything, everyone. Please make them behave according to how it should be. Let them not be, they not deviate because of their mind and other habits and gunas and vasanas. Then that consciousness, if I have a pure heart, with purity if I think, things start changing. And what you experience when I walk around, the joy, the energy, the excitement, it's all because the Kshetrajna in me and the Kshetrajna in you are same. So the moment they are together, there is excitement and joy because you have recognized that. Inside you, you have recognized the sameness. That's why there is joy. And when you don't recognize the sameness, there is sadness. That is the others, ayam nijaha parovetti. That Gadana Lagu Chetasam, that idea comes. They are different, I am different, I must look after myself, they should look after themselves. But the moment you experience me, because I never feel this difference, you get inspired. Because my Kshetrajna suddenly opens up the doors for your Kshetrajna, in the sense the same Kshetrajna to flow. The resistance in the wire, which does not allow electricity to flow correctly, that resistance disappears in my presence. Because I inspire that kind of elevation, the spiritual connect. So this is why we feel connected to spiritual people. We go to holy places. We feel peaceful, we feel happy, because that is our true nature. And whichever place and whoever is exhibiting and expressing that true nature, when we come close to them, we also become like that. I'll give the example of magnet and the piece of iron. A piece of iron, when it's brought close to the magnet, suddenly start behaving like a magnet. Why? Because magnetism is common to both a piece of iron as well as the magnet. But in the piece of iron, all that atoms or whatever the things are not aligned properly to be a magnet. They are all scattered and they are not in one direction. Whereas in magnet, everything is in one direction. The magnetic field is there. Whereas there is no magnetic field there, because everything is scattered, like our thoughts are different. Karmana sanyat, karmanyat, vachasanyat. We are all very distributed and scattered, so we are not having the energy. But the moment you come in the presence of a powerful jnani, like a magnet, you immediately start behaving like a magnet. And if you stay in touch with that jnani for long enough, what is going to happen? You will become permanently magnetized. How permanently? So that next time you go across to any other piece of iron, you will magnetize them also. This is the idea of jnana dana. Once you receive this dana of jnana from me, you have to get fully magnetized, not temporary magnetism, which happens when you come to Premamrutham and go back and become the piece of iron again. No. Stay in constant temptation. Constantly, Krishna says, you have to constantly remember me, Nitya Yukta. Then what happens? You will become permanently magnetized. And once you become permanently magnetized, you never lose the magnetism again. You will remain that way. And what is your power then? You can magnetize others. So this is what our role is. When we learn all these truths, we have to practice so that we become divinized. Once we become divinized, anybody who comes in touch with us, that person also will feel the divinity. Eventually they will also get divinized. This is the fastest way of divinizing the world. Divinize yourself first. How? 20 qualities in this chapter. Amanatvam, madambatvam, or whatever. The 20 qualities, practice. These are not just qualities, this is actually the process. If you practice this, the outcome would be you will become magnetized. If you don't practice this, there's nothing I can do about it. And simple things only Krishna is saying, not some high-end, go to Himalayas, stand on one leg, in the cold, in the rain. Not asking you all that. He says, one says, Putra, Dara and Grihadishu, you should develop some kind of a asanga there. You have to develop some kind of a detachment, he says. Once, in this birth, we are husbands, wives, children, and whatever. In another birth, we will be different. So from that perspective, be a little dissociated. Don't get too emotionally entangled with relationships. That's all Krishna is saying. He's not saying abandon everything and run away. See how simple, how easy our spirituality is. Develop a sense of detachment, dispassion, knowing that all this is dream. Vishwam tyaktva swapna vicharam, Adi Shankara. Think it's a dream. How much can you be happy about a dream? Even if his dream is going on, like many people says, if somebody was dreaming that he got a lottery and he was about to encash the lottery. Suddenly his wife woke him up. Hey, come on, get up. He says, you just stopped me short of becoming a millionaire. I was about to encash a lottery check and you woke me up. Now we are not millionaires. What should the wife say? Why did I marry you? Like that she should say. Because he's dreaming of a lottery which is never true. And he's already made plans in the lottery. After that I'll buy this, I'll do that, and things like that. We make big plans about our lives like this. Like we make in dream. When Brahmin was there, poor Brahmin, one day he begged and got a pot of milk in charity, dana. So he brought and hung the pot of milk from the roof of his hut and was sleeping under it, dreaming. This is a lot of milk. By tomorrow it will be curd. Then I will change it into butter. I will sell all that butter in the market. With that I will buy a goat. And then that goat will give more milk. I'll get more butter. I'll make more curds. I'll sell all that. Then I'll buy a cow. With that cow, I will again get more milk and sell curd and butter, and I'll buy more cows, a whole goshala. After that, I will become rich. Then some girl will marry me because now I have money. I'll build a house. Then I will have children. And if the children make noise and they behave badly, I'll give them one kick, and he kicks the pot. Our plans in life, Kshetra plans. Vikara. So the idea is that whatever you build in this world is unreal only. Then you will say all your charities unreal, all your education, all your hospitals unreal. Yes, it is so. But the patient does not know it is unreal. That patient thinks it's real, he's suffering. So unless I remove that suffering, bring the mind to some state of peace, bring the body to some state of rest, I cannot teach these spiritual things to them. But forget about the patient and the student and the beneficiaries. What is happening to you when you are doing selfless service? You are following these 20 qualities that Krishna has just now told. Because of which, you will attain this wisdom of discrimination between Kshetra and Kshetrajna. That is the jnana that you need to attain. That is all that you need to know in your life. Once you know that, you need not worry about anything else. Life will become a breeze. You will go through every situation in life without getting affected, because Mukta Evasi Sarvada, I am always free only, I am never bound. I am never bound. Can you ever bind space? You cannot. You may build walls, but have you bound the space? No. Space is free. Can you bind the light? You cannot. Sunlight. Likewise, you can't bind this Kshetrajna, even though it is in the body, looks like it is divided, vibhakta, but it is avibhakta only. It is a continuum in which we exist. And keep contemplating on it. Suddenly you will realize there is no dvesha, there is no raga, there is no ichcha, there is no bhaya. None of these dualities will exist. You will become very happy and very peaceful. And even if sometimes, mind gets disturbed when you get stuck and bhoktaratva bhava comes in. Very quickly you will be able to discriminate and withdraw. Very quickly. You won't be stuck there for too long. Very quickly you will figure it out. Oh, these vikaras are coming. This is again my Kshetrajna has got stuck with the Kshetra. Quickly you will discriminate and distance both. The moment that vibhaga you do, you will attain peace again. The world will go around as it goes on. But you will be at peace. This is the idea how jnanis live in this world. They are not affected by anything. And this is what you should all become. And once you become divinized, magnetized, your job would be to divinize and magnetize many more people who are still groping in the darkness of ignorance. They are killing themselves in the process by thinking all this is too real, and they are entangled and engaged in it. Finally, at the end, they will all be disappointed because they were all chasing shadows. Therefore, nothing will come to their hand. But run behind the truth, become a jnani. That is the best way to attain peace and happiness. Okay. Questions?
Swami, in Bhakti Yoga, you advise to choose any one quality and follow it. If we follow purity, will society misuse and take advantage of us?
I am following purity. Is anybody taking advantage of me? I think some of you must be taking. That's why you got this doubt. Even if you take advantage of me or do whatever you feel like, will I change my nature of being pure? I won't. A river will not stop flowing because somebody spat in it or somebody worshipped it. River is flowing because it wants to reach the ocean. Its only job is to flow. It's never tired of flowing. Likewise, the one who is really pure, irrespective of whether people take advantage or not, they have to remain pure only. Now, that is one side of it. But it's not enough if you do some yukti, some thinking also is required. In the sense, if people are taking undue advantage of your goodness and kindness and compassion and charity, you have to take steps to correct that. That is also part of your duty. Like when we started some years ago, we made free education totally free, and we said we will select the poorest of the poor students because they cannot afford to pay anything. Let us do that. Then our people are very innocent over here. I am not that innocent. So I told you, thoroughly check. Go to their homes, click pictures, record and document everything so that nobody takes advantage of our kindness like people do of government schemes. Everybody seems to have a BPL card, comes in car to collect his ration. So it should not happen like that, I said. So everybody did a lot of checking. So they were doing checks and they used to do interview. So when they were doing interview, so the child would be already coached by the parents. When they ask you, what is they say, we have nothing in home, we are very poor and this and that. The parents would have given a nice story. So I told them, you interview them separately, don't interview them together. If you interview parents and children together, they will tell the same thing. But children are generally innocent and they may not be as clever and cunning. Young boys, 10 years, 12 years old. So you ask them separately. So what happened? They started doing interviews separately. So first interview, the parents came. We are very poor, we are below poverty line, we have nothing, this, that, this admission is a must, all that stuff. Okay, our people melted, compassion and purity, whatever you said. Then they called the boy and said, oh boy, what is there in your home? We have a two-wheeler, one tractor, 2 acres of land. So don't allow people to take undue advantage of your kindness and purity. Some yukti is also required. Bhakti alone is not enough. But does it mean that I will stop giving free just because somebody cheated us? No, it happened, we learnt a lesson, and now we are more careful. But even that calculation does not exist for the purest of the pure. Of course, there is a system we are running, so we have to run it the right way. Nobody takes undue advantage of it, But when I see people who are sick and when they come here for some health issue, people say they can pay, why don't you allow them to pay? I said, I'm not going to ask because according to me, healthcare, education, everything should be free. But I am trying to give it to the poorest. If you have more beds occupied by the poorest people, we will be doing greater service than those who also can get themselves treated by paying elsewhere. However, I cannot tell them on their face, are you pure? They're poor, then come here, otherwise don't come here. Some people who can pay also come here. But when they see things here, sometimes that transforms them too. Sometimes that touches their heart. But some people in the society will always be there. It doesn't mean that we should change our habits. Like the sage who wanted to save the scorpion. The scorpion was stinging the sage, but yet the sage was picking the scorpion and putting it out of the river. And somebody who saw it said, why are you doing that? He said, to sting is the scorpion's dharma, but to save is my dharma. I'll continue to do my dharma despite whatever people say or do. So purity of people should be like that. Even if people are taking advantage of it, if you can avoid it, well and good. If you cannot, still you should not change your nature of doing good, being pure. Because for what sake you want to be pure? For your own benefit, uddared atmana atmanam, for your own evolution, for your own emancipation you are doing it. Why so much of calculation there?
Can you explain the difference between loneliness and solitude? Because there are many fears associated with being alone.
Loneliness and solitude, yes. See, as just now I said, a spiritual quality is solitude. Arati jana sansadi. He does not want to, does not want to simply be surrounded by crowds and people who are not of their nature, who are of different nature. They do not want such thing. So solitude is a spiritual quality when you can stay with yourself. That is solitude. You enjoy your own company. That is solitude. Loneliness is when you don't enjoy your company. You are such a terrible fellow. You don't enjoy your company. How will people enjoy your company? Naturally you are lonely. But if you are a spiritual person, you have solitude, you will never feel lonely in the sense, you will never feel that you are left out. You have been ostracized. You have been segregated. You have been dumbed. You will never feel like that. You will always feel that joy within, right? Your fountain of joy is inside you. It's not dependent on people outside. So you'll always be happy. Leave a child in a room, or let us say, I see some children, leave them outside in a pile of sand. He is alone. But is he lonely? He's busy. What is busy with? Atma Krida, Atma Rati, Kriyavan. Happy playing with the sand. No one never gets bored. Because his happiness is not because of the presence of others around. His happiness comes from within. What he is doing is enjoying it. Likewise, a spiritual person will have solitude. They love solitude because that's when they can be in touch with themselves and enjoy that joy that comes from within. Otherwise, you have to always interact with others. For some moment, your mind will get deviated from your spiritual thoughts and get into other thoughts. So that's why solitude is the spiritual quality. And there is no fear in solitude. There is a lot of joy in solitude. When you are in touch with yourself, you are being yourself, you are very happy. But loneliness is a worldly quality. When you want people around you to discuss the kshetra, that is when loneliness happens. And nobody wants to discuss kshetrajna. Then you feel lonely in the world, full surrounded by people also you'll feel lonely because they're not of your type. So you like solitude. Like think of when you want to go to sleep, let us say. So till now you were playing outside. You wanted all your friends. You wanted to chat with everybody, eat with everybody, play with everybody. But the moment you want to sleep, do you want anybody around you? You want to get rid of the nearest and dearest people also saying, please let me sleep. So are you becoming lonely when you are going to sleep? No. But sleep is a kind of solitude. You need it in order to be happy, in order to sleep well. If you have people crowding around you, you cannot sleep. Likewise, a spiritual person loves that spiritual peace which comes from being in touch with oneself so that your mind can be with you and not deviated and interacting with the world. So they love solitude. There is no fear in solitude. Yes, there is a fear in loneliness because you are not in touch with your true self. For your joy, you depend on others. Unless somebody comes and praises you, you are not happy today. Unless you chat with somebody, you are not happy today. Unless you spill the beans today, you are not happy at all. This is kind of chattering and interacting habits are worldly habits. And that's loneliness, and that makes people very uncomfortable when they have to be kind of alone. But spiritual people love being alone. Not always, I'm not saying they always are alone, but if they need to be alone, they will be alone. They don't mind it. But if they need to also interact, they will interact with the world. But even while they're interacting, there is some kind of aloofness, aloneness, solitude is in them. Externally they're interacting, but deep down they're again very centered and very separate from everything else. So that is a spiritual quality, and you should not worry. As you grow spiritually, you will know that solitude is what you want. And that's not loneliness.
Swami, how can we kindle Arjuna-like curiosity in the minds of children?
Tell them the benefits of what they are going to learn. Then they'll become very eager. Because some Shruti, Phalashruti should be there. All our scriptures have a Phalashruti at the end. And that is the reason, because they want to create interest in people about reading what you read to them. If you do this, at the end you will attain Paramapadam, you will attain Shivalokam, you will attain something else. Because of that, they do everything that they do. Our minds are trained like that, Mind always wants some outcome. So you teach them the benefits of reading Bhagavad Gita, learning spiritual truths. How is it going to help them? And if you can convince them about the outcome of it, I'm sure children would like to know and learn. And some rewards are required. Every time they learn, you must reward them with something. This is for small children. For grown-ups, they have to, as I said, in Satsanga, when they go, they will naturally develop some inclination towards things. But for children, you have to put efforts to create the interest and curiosity. And that can happen when you are telling them the outcome of what they do, how it's going to help them in their day-to-day lives, in everything that they do. Once they know that, they will become interested.
Swami, can you suggest ways of improving our memory?
What is memory? Memory is simply collection of all that you have seen, heard, smelled, tasted, touched. All the experience is collected over there. Now, which memory stays longer, which memory stays on top, whichever experience is very deep, very intense. That is the memory which stays on top. An experience which is very light and superficial, that memory does not stay on top. For example, you are going by bus. You watch so many scenery, something's happening. You don't register anything in your memory. You saw. Some accident happened on the road, something very intense happened, something that made you alert. That memory will remain with you. So, intensity of your experience is equal to your memory. Now, intensity of experience of, let's say, study for that matter. How intensely you are studying. How much interest you are taking to study that. How much effort you are putting to study that, that will become a good memory. And that's how your power starts increasing. But if you're not taking any interest in anything that you're doing, it won't become a part of your memory. Your memory will not be formed at all. So first you should know how memory forms. Whenever your experience is very intense, it becomes a memory. When it is very light, it doesn't remain in the memory. It remains for some time and goes away. How to increase your memory? Do everything with all intensity. Where your mind is, that's where your heart should be, that's where your body should be. With full concentration, work on anything that will help you develop the memory of it, and that will remain with you for a long, long time. Tejasvina adhitamastu. That will remain with you. It will not go away because you have put all your 100% to learn or to experience that. So that is the idea. If you are sitting here also, if you are listening to me very intently, this will remain strong in your memory. And the moment you keep doing that, your ability to create more memory and create more ability to remember things will increase. It's like a muscle. The more you use it, the more powerful it becomes. Memory, the more you do this kind of exercise of intensely experiencing things by totally involving yourself, completely, manasa, vacha, karma, that will become your memory and it will keep increasing your memory also. Next time you can do it faster.
Swami, it is generally easy to correct those who are younger than us. But when we see mistakes with elders and try to correct them, it is considered arrogance. How should one deal with this?
I told Namakam Chamakam is the method. Go to the elders and sing their glory for half an hour, how good they are in whatever they do, how nice they are and things like that. And after that you start, sir, all that, one small thing I was wanting to bring to your attention. I do not know whether it is right, wrong. No, I felt like this. I just want to express, take your guidance. So don't even say that they are wrong. You just have to tell them, this is one thing I felt, I want to take your guidance. And if you're humble and you have no intentions of pointing fingers, maybe at first reaction, if he's a very egoistic elder person, may first feel hurt and angry. But after some time, if he's a real good person, he'll sit and analyze and figure it out, no, what is being said is right. The way it is said is very important. As this is said, Mritabhashi, Mitabhashi, Smitabhashi, Amritabhashi. Smilingly, sweetly, you convey what you need to convey. Don't send a long mail and things like that. So this method of first trying to tell them what they are doing right all the time, and then slowly put. Now don't give a big list of wrongdoings today only. Monday you release one, next Monday another, like that. If you have 10 things to correct, you have to plan. You can't say it in one breath. That will be disastrous. Say Namakam every time, Chamakam only one para. Then it works. That's how they chant, no? Namakam, Chamakam. 11 times Namakam, one time Chamakam. That's how you have to correct the elders. And there are some elders, I'm sure they need some correction. But this is how you can do it.
Is it inevitable to experience prarabdha karma, or can it be reduced through any other means?
You cannot get rid of your prarabdha. See, prarabdha is something which is already in motion. It's like an arrow that has been shot. How can you change the direction or the speed or the intensity of that arrow? You cannot. It's already in motion. So you can only develop the ability to accept it and be equanimous even when it is in motion. It is already gone. You cannot change it. That's why the example of 3 arrows. No? One arrow is in the quiver. That is your sanchita karma. One arrow you are just shot. That is prarabdha. It's already gone to the target. And one arrow you are placing on the bow to shoot now. That you can avoid. Agami karma you can avoid by keeping the arrow away. Or sanchita karma you can avoid by throwing away all the arrows by the grace of Guru. But that which has already been shot, which is in the motion, which is prarabdha, it's not possible to change it. You can only change the attitude towards the experience that's going to come out of it. You have to develop that sense of fortitude, kshama, forbearance, and take it in a positive spirit and let it happen as it's supposed to happen. You can't change that. You can reduce the pain or the experience of it by becoming a jnani. That's all you can do.
Swami, is luck an offshoot of karma, or are there some other factors at work?
Luck in a very common parlance is something that just happened without your effort and it just helped you get what you wanted to get done. But luck is truly in some way a part of your karma only. Not the karma which you are doing now, but some karma of the past which has come to your help at this point in time. Or it could be even God's grace also. But if we don't call it luck, we call it anugraham or grace. But where you think it is luck because you neither prayed to God nor you had any such intentions of asking anybody for any help, but somehow it turned out to be this way. It's also because of some purva karma which has helped you at this point of time to achieve what you needed to achieve. So pure luck is not actually just a coincidence. It is not so. It is also connected to some karma of yours whose result is this, that you got some extra benefits while you're doing something and you achieved what you had set out to achieve. So this is the actual factor so it is an offshoot of previous karmas that you get lucky next time.
Swami, sometimes we feel so insignificant in the face of events like natural disasters and wars that we start to feel that our efforts will not have any impact. What should be our attitude in these situations?
We all have a collective karma also, as I already mentioned. Individual karma, family karma, national karma, global karma. So karma collects together and then everybody suffers the fate of it. We are all like sitting in the same boat. So whoever does whatever, it affects the entire boat. Now, can you change the mindset of everybody who is involved in warfare and disasters and things like that? You cannot. Whichever is man-made disasters. You cannot change everybody's mind because they have collected this karma, these vasanas over many, many of their births too. But what you can do, you can set a positive action in motion. You can start praying and you can start creating a circle of influence around you and start changing people around you, one person at a time. The war may not come to an end today, but at least you'll ensure that there are no more wars in the future, at some distant future, in some distant, because you do not know, you can do it by tomorrow, but you can always avoid any such incidents in the future. So don't think any effort will be wasted. It may not be immediately useful for this situation, but whatever effort you put, nahi kalyana kaschit kaschit, krit kaschit durgadam tatagachati. You cannot meet a disaster or a wrong end when you have done anything good in this world. So this is the idea of doing good. You still pray, you still be a good person, influence more people to be good. That way you will avoid another disaster in the future. And what about natural disasters? See, nature has its own way of settling things and balancing things. And when there is, we know the ecology laws are there. When there are too many deer, then suddenly you will have more lions. And they'll eat up all the deer in balance, and then grass will grow. Then deers will appear, lions will die. So all this is the way nature knows how to balance itself. So most of the natural disasters are just a balancing act of the nature. We may feel it's a disaster because we are getting hurt. But Earth, it has been there, I don't know, maybe 4.5 billion years. It's not going to die just like that. We have come only like yesterday in the life of Earth. So we have to worry about our safety, but natural disasters are just the Earth's way or the nature's way of balancing itself. It's not really a disaster from that perspective, because it is just balancing itself, it's setting things right. However, you feel it's a disaster because you are getting affected. Actually, if something has been man-created, man-made, you have to only influence people to do things better. And that will take time because everybody has different ways of learning. Not everybody is spiritually inclined. That is why I go on repeating. If you develop more spirituality in the people of the world, a lot of problems can be solved. Can I do it tonight for everyone? No. But can I do it for myself first? Yes. Can I do it for my family next? Yes, of course. Can I do it for my community after that? Of course. Slowly can it spread to the whole country? Maybe. And someday to the whole world. So you have to begin somewhere and not just look at the problems, size of the problem and just give up saying, no point in doing anything. That's wrong. You have to do something about it, which is to start with praying and start changing yourself, your habits, your ways, so that people around you also get inspired and start changing. That is the best we can do. At the end of it, as I said, don't take it too much and then get into depression. Many people have written to me that they are not able to sleep well because they feel next the war is going to come to their doorstep. They feel next there's going to be a huge natural disaster in their country or home. They become so anxious of that. Again, they're living in the future or the past, which again is not the right attitude. We have to live in the present as it is right now and do what is required to be done now. That will define what happens in the future. So don't get too overtly involved and emotional about anything in life, including disasters. It's not worth getting so involved with anything. Okay, for today, good. Whatever I've said, you have to go and contemplate. See, that is the Guru Dakshina that you have to do. You simply listen and go back and get demagnetized again, de-divinized again. That's not going to work. You have to retain that divinity and that magnetic spirituality within you, which you have experienced here, by constantly contemplating on what has been told.